Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 324 of Screw the Commute podcast. We're here with Kris Reid, and he's going to talk about something we all need, is getting customers. And also, wait to hear this, he was drugged by beautiful women in Latvia. What's that all about? This really kind of upsets me, really does, because I've been trying to get drugged by beautiful women anywhere, and I couldn't do it. So he's way up on me on that. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 323. We had a prolific guest, Gavin Preston, and he helped people double their business in 1 year. So make sure you go back and listen to that if you missed it. And of course, when you want to go to a specific episode, you go to screwthecommute.com and then / the episode number. Today is 324, and we're going to have a great offer from Kris a little bit later. So you want to make sure you can find this episode in the show notes. All right, how would you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all in your business or given you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. Go to screwthecommute.com, and on the sidebar, you see a little blue bar that says send a voicemail. You can click on it, tell us what you like about the show, put your website in there to get a big shout out in front of thousands of people in your own voice. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. This ebook has allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers without pulling my hair out. We actually figured it out a couple years ago. Just one tip in the book has saved me 7.5 million keystrokes and allowed me to steal customers off of these schmucks that are too slow with their feet up at the beach while I'm taking all their business. So you can grab this. We sell it for $27, but it's yours free for listening to the show at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're at it, grab a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And you can put it on your cell phone and tablets, got all kinds of cool features, and you can take us with you on the road. Now, people are still worrying about this pandemic. They're freaking out. They don't know if schools are opening or whatever, but guys like me don't worry about this, and students of mine don't worry about this because we have the skills to sell from our homes. Like people call me up that knew me 20 years ago. Hey, Tommy, all right? Well, yeah, why? I've been sitting here for 26 years in the same place, and I don't worry about the pandemic. I mean, of course, it's a horrible thing, and it's a lot of suffering going on because of it, but not if you learn the things that I teach. We have the only licensed internet and digital marketing school that's dedicated to that topic in the world at imtcva.org. It's a great gift, legacy gift for your kids, grandchildren, that they actually get a skill rather than running up big debt and then competing for jobs at Starbucks. These are skills that every small business needs. And our students, some of them are making money a couple months into the school and grabbing business from small business owners that are clueless. So check it out at imtcva.org. And I'll tell you a little later how you can get a scholarship to that school. All right, let's get to the main event. Kris Reid has traveled the world for 2 years. I just found out he lives in Vietnam. He's been Europe, Russia, China, London to Hong Kong. And Kris has led a truly exciting life, and he's here to share how you can manage your reputation to get customers. His heavy emphasis is on getting customers from various methods. And that's so important nowadays. It's always important, but especially now when people are scrambling and there's shutdowns and everything else. And Kris is the leader of Ardor. That's ARDOR SEO, search engine optimization. And you have heard me on hundreds of episodes rag against SEO. So we're bringing on another guy that's had great success with it. So we have to see all sides of these issues because the internet is a big field and people are having success in all kinds of ways. And he's had it in this way. And I wanted to bring him to you. So Kris, are you ready to screw the
Oh,
commute?
Tom. Oh, Tom. After that intro, I'm totally ready.
You're totally ready to screw. Well, great. Well, it's so great to meet you. You have a wonderful assistant. I think it's Grusha. Is that how you pronounce it?
That is indeed.
I wanted to get her on here because she has just been beautiful the way she's handled all our interactions, and I want to give her a big shout out because she deserves it. Tell us what you're doing now, and then since this is entrepreneurial, people like to hear the backstory, how you came up through all these countries, and where did you ever have a job, and how did you transition to doing what you're doing, and all that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a country boy from Brisbane, Australia. I studied software engineering at university, then moved to London to work in finance, and really certainly enjoyed that until the global financial crisis came around and took my job away, which was kind of a blessing in disguise. I didn't know really what to do with my life because all of the software jobs were gone. There was no way to make the same sort of money I was making. So I spent 2 years traveling the world a lot through Europe and Asia. And I built an online game, not particularly because I knew anything about starting a business, because I wanted to learn a new type of programming. Because I always worked for banks, which do like desktop stuff. And I wanted to learn internet programming. So I built this online game. And as it was coming to fruition, I was like, well, how the heck do you get people to a website to play the damn thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I started learning about SEO. And once I discovered what backlinks were, and backlinks were everything back then, I built a bunch of links to my website. The website shot up the rankings. I went, oh my God, this is amazing. I quickly ditched the game, built some software to organize backlinks, and that's how we started our business.
Well, tell people how, most of them know I've been around since the beginning, but tell them how backlinks have changed over time.
Yeah, so a backlink is just a link from one website to another. And that's the fundamentals of how Google works. So back in the 90s, there was all sorts of search engines, Excite, AltaVista, Yahoo, and they all had one thing in common, that they were crap.
Yeah, that's true. You had to look through 15 pages of stuff to find anything you wanted.
Well, how they worked was they were based on text. So they would read the text on a website, and if someone wrote, Plumber New York the most times on their website, they'd rank the best for Plumber New York, which, obviously people could spam the system and just create crappy websites and rank them. And so Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, who's a super genius, was at university at the time and went, this is stupid. And he came up with the PageRank algorithm, named after himself, which is basically you have a bunch of seed websites that are trusted, and the further you are from them, the less PageRank you get. So basically the bigger, more authoritative a website is that's linking to you, the better. And to start with, it was really just the more domain authority, the more authority a website had, the better that was. And now it's much more niche relevant, if you're a plumber and a landscape or other home service company in your local area is linking to you, that's a really good backlink. If some, pet website on the other side of the world's linking to you, well, it doesn't make much sense. And so it's not as important. So it's really, really about relevancy these days. That's really all that's changed. Still, the more domain authority, the better. But the more relevant the website and the content that's linking back to you is what's going to make you rank.
Now, would you say that really superstar high authority sites like Wall Street Journal and things like that would still carry heavy weight with the backlink?
Oh, for sure. But, you try and get a link from the Wall Street Journal, it's not really going to happen. Most of big news agencies don't even link to you anyway. So it gives you what's called like a co-citation. If you're referenced in the Wall Street Journal, it's still very relevant. But yeah,
it's just harder to come by. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why it's worth more as well. If
right.
a site links to everyone, then it's not that valuable.
So you would say the same thing about .govs and .edus and things like that. That's what we taught, for a long time. They're harder to manipulate, right?
You don't particularly need to go down you don't want spammy, crappy backlinks. You want backlinks from real websites with real content that's about what you do. So if you are a plumber, generally a plumber services a local geographical area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can connect with all of the other home service providers in that local area, because a local backlink to a local company is super valuable. But if you're a plumber, you know, if you service New York, you're not in competition with a plumber in California. So you can link to each other and help each other out, you know, like that's a really relevant backlink.
Yep.
So, and there's an interesting study that just came out a couple of weeks ago by Ahrefs, which is this SEO tool,
Right.
and they analyzed 2 billion pieces of content, and they found that 90.63% of content gets no traffic from Google. That's 90.63%. So almost all of the content. And so the article goes into what do you need to do to be in the other 9.37% of content. And it breaks everything down, and it found that content that gets more than 1,000 visitors a month is only 0.21% of content, which is a tiny amount. So to be in that like 0.21%, the secret is you need backlinks, because if no one's linking to your content, and Google figures, why the hell do I want to index it and rank it? Because no one cares about it. So you need to write really good content. You need to have really strong backlinks. That's the secret of ranking in Google.
Okay, now there's been a lot of variation and controversy and back and forth about the number of words on a page. How are you thinking about that nowadays?
Yeah, so you like thin content is a thing. It's a real easy way for Google to determine whether a page is crap or not. So you want to have at least 500 words of content. That's usually the minimum. There's no exact science of what the length should be, but 500 should be the minimum. If you're going after a really big search term, like generally what we do with customers once they approach page one for like a keyword that has like 20,000 searches a month or something, you know, because when you're focusing on any keyword that has 20,000 searches a month, you know, it's very valuable. That's a lot of visitors that you're going to get from one freaking keyword. And so we'll do analysis. So we use an algorithm called TF-IDF and do a scan of the top 10's content. But you can do it yourself. Like even if you want to rank for plumber New York, go and click on search plumber New York, click on all the other pages and see what content they have. Really just, you know, see what quality theirs is and make sure that yours is better. That's an easy answer to that.
Now, it used to be there was tools that you could easily, I mean, for free, basically, see who's linking to your competitors. What are you using now for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so Majestic still does some pretty good link analysis. Ahrefs is the best tool in the market. That really gives you everything you need. Like I personally, I just work in sales and marketing myself. So I use a tool called SEMrush, which is cheaper.
Yeah.
And I like it's the way it displays graphs is just simpler. So when I'm on a sales call, it's easier to show people, you know, what they're looking at. Where Ahrefs is a little bit more complex, but that's what all our guys use because it's way more accurate. It's a far superior tool.
Yeah, and I never think backwards very much, but I'm just remembering there used to be something with Yahoo or something you could see everybody that was linking back to somebody, but that's been a long time since I've fooled with it.
Yeah, like even Google gives you a little bit of that information. Like if you verify your website in Google Search Console,
right,
they'll give you a few of the people that are linking back to you, but they only give you a little bit of that information, and it's not very useful anyway.
So you like SEMrush the best then?
Well, I like it for a sales point of view. Like Ahrefs is a far superior tool for actual SEO. Ahrefs happens to be the name of like a hyperlink, like
right.
Yeah, that's how you link to something in HTML.
And what are the costs for those tools?
Roughly, Ahrefs is probably like $300 a month or something.
Yeah, so that's pretty serious. Yeah.
Yeah, where like SEMrush is probably $600 a year. It's pretty affordable.
All right, great. All right, so I did hear you say you had a job at one time. So how did you transition between the dreaded J.O.B. and working and going into the gaming and gaming field? Did you have money saved up, or did you start a corporation, or what?
I was a software engineer, so I used to get paid pretty good coin.
Okay.
So, thankfully I, had enough cash to, support me for a couple of years while I loafed around the world, getting drugged by women and, having all sorts of crazy adventures.
Yeah, we do have to hear that story. That's you can't come up with a story like that and leave it hanging.
I was actually showing I used to live in Eastern Europe, studying Russian, and later lived in Russia. And my dad was visiting, and I was showing him around Latvia, Riga, the capital. Beautiful summer day, and like Latvia has just such beautiful women. They're everywhere. And we're sitting in the courtyard of Riga Square, which is a very historic courtyard, which is beautiful. Having a few beers, and there's these beautiful women across from us, and my dad's a little bit of a funny character, so he starts waving at them, and they come on over, and they start talking to us, and they're like, "Oh, we're from Moscow," and I'm like, "Oh, it was the end of summer." I said, "I just spent the summer in Moscow," and they didn't actually sound like they were really from Moscow. I'm like, yeah, that sounds a bit weird. But they're like, oh, we went to this place last night. You should come with us. It's this club. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so we went along, and these two girls were like being rather friendly. And I was like, girls don't usually act like this, And so we had a few vodka shots at this bar. And I looked at the bill, and it was like $600 or some crap. And I'm like, get out of here! I'm not paying this rubbish. And I like went to leave, and noticed as I got to the top of the stairs, I noticed my dad wasn't there, and I went back down, and he had a circle of people around him. And I kind of reached through the crowd and reefed him out. And thankfully we left. We were both pretty good drinkers at the time, and we went to this other bar. And then we started getting like really dizzy, and we like, the whole night got really patchy. Like at one point we like woke up in a fire escape, and we're like, what the hell are we doing in here? Like the drugs finally kicked in, and we were just like out of our minds. But yeah, it eventually wore off, and we found our way home, and had another drink.
I'm surprised you didn't get your butt kicked leaving a bar with a $600 fake tab.
Pretty damn lucky, I'd say. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you lived through that. So what would you say? All right. So we got some basics of SEO that we talked about. Backlinks are your big thing, I guess. So.
Well, for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, people understand that they need to have a website, right? Like every business builds a website these days, but they don't really understand why. It's to generate your customers. Like, why the hell spend money on a website if they're not going to generate you any customers?
Yep.
And unless you're a web designer, it doesn't particularly matter what your website looks like. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It needs to show that you're an expert in what you do. That's what people are finding. Like one of my favorite marketers, Donald Miller, he always says, beautiful websites don't sell things, words sell things.
You know what? We're totally on this same page there. I've been teaching ugly websites people, sneer at me a lot of times. Oh man, that's your website? And I'm saying, okay, you want to trade bank accounts? And they say no. Or yes, they say yes. So yeah, I'm totally. It just needs to look good enough to represent you well professionally, and do the job of making money. Because people tell me the most
important thing is people need to find it. Because if no one's seen it, then it doesn't count for anything.
Exactly, right. And it has to be one of the big shifts a few years ago was they have to be responsive. Because more searches are being done on. Mobile now. So what do you think? I've been teaching people when they're doing their keyword research that there's a big shift now because of voice search. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's, as there's more and more voice search, there's more long tail. Like,
right.
Short tail keyword is like, smartphone, and long tail is like, an iPhone 8, or where to buy a secondhand iPhone 8 in downtown.
Exactly.
The longer the tail, the higher it will convert. Because someone's searching smartphone, like, what are they looking for? Who knows? Where someone's searching like where to buy a secondhand iPhone 8, like they know what they want. So it's going to convert better.
Yeah, and so you can use those on your website, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't particularly need to worry about all of the different permutations, because obviously with people using voice search, the search terms get longer and longer and longer. But, if you rank for the higher traffic ones, so the short tail are always going to have a higher search volume. But if you focus on those and use those to structure your website, you'll pick up all the little ones anyway.
Yeah, and the search engines are so smart now compared to when they first started. I mean, they can see intent. The artificial intelligence is like crazy, scary almost, that they can figure out what somebody wants. Yeah.
Yeah, Google's got the best software engineers on the planet, and they're constantly working on updating it. So yeah, they get really smart, which is why you don't want to game the system. Like people that do black hat SEO, it's like that might have worked years ago, but it's not worth it. If you're building a business, you're building a brand, it's like if you want it to like get wiped out because Google doesn't update, then that's crazy. Like Google is constantly updating their algorithm, but they're always looking for the same things. Good websites that have great content and great authority and provide a good user experience. If you do that, it's not going to change.
Yeah, it used to be so hard to teach this because we were so exacting, like the percentage of keywords and the keyword prominence, and then Google came out and said, if you do this too perfect, we're going to screw you because we know you're trying to game us. Just do it for the people. And have a good user experience, get people to stay on your site a long time. Hey, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never going to change. So you just keep focusing on writing quality. But one thing that SEO has over like all paid traffic is search intent. Like Facebook ads obviously work, or Facebook wouldn't be worth so much money. But Google's worth a heck of a lot more money. And like a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad, someone might be sitting on a bus or on a train and they see an ad. They might even click on the ad, but they don't have a credit card with them, so they can't actually buy anything. Where Google, they're actively searched for exactly what you do. So they're in that buy mode, so they'll have their credit card ready. So it's got way more buying intent behind it.
Yeah, and that's why and it's reflected actually in the paid section, because I can get 2 to 4 cent in-stream ads on YouTube, but the same keywords, it cost me $1 to $5.50 on the search, because people were actively searching rather than me interrupting them. So
exactly.
Yeah. So
that's it. It's a term coined by Seth Godin, the granddaddy of internet marketing, interrupt marketing, where you're getting in front of people's faces when they want to be doing anything else. Where search, people are actively searching for exactly what you do. So what can be more powerful than that at growing your business?
So your bottom line is to get over into that place where they're actively searching. Backlinks would be the big emphasis for a small business?
Well, you need to have a cohesive strategy. If you if you're just building backlinks, then you're not going to get bang for your buck. You need to look at your overall market. Like you can't just go in and like write a bit of content. You need to look at everything. What do you want to achieve? Like, a question I get asked all the time is, how much is SEO? I say, well, you can spend any amount you want. Agoda literally spends billions of dollars on SEO. So it's like, there's no limit to it. You need to work out, well, how many customers do you want? Our perfect customers, when they come to us, I'll ask them, well, how many customers are you currently getting from your website? And I'll say 10. How many do you want in a year? Well, 100. That's great. We just increase your conversion rate, increase the traffic to this level, and boom, you get there. It's real easy. But you need a full strategy of that, because it's not just about ranking for keywords. It's about getting people to your website, but then getting them to take action. And like even on an e-commerce website, Amazon converts so much better than every other e-commerce website, because everyone knows and trusts Amazon, where people don't trust, some little site that they've never heard of before. So you need to get them into your sales funnel. You need to give them some lead magnet that they find is valuable. They read it and they get indoctrinated in your brand, and then you can ask them to buy something.
So what would you say if somebody was starting from scratch with a brand new website? I know with paid traffic, I can send them traffic, overnight basically. But from a purely SEO standpoint, using only SEO and even considering the Google sandbox and everything, how long could they start getting some influx of actual traffic?
Yeah. So a big reason that you should not talk to a web designer, because most web designers have no freaking idea about how to make money.
I actually own the domain killyourwebdesigner.com.
Oh, they drive me mental. One of our newer customers had just spent $20,000 on a website that makes 0 customers. And it's like, man, it's whoever sold him on that crap was a hell of a salesman.
Yeah.
And he's not even in a competitive area. He's in this little village called Langley near Vancouver. And it's like, man, it does not cost that much to build a website that's going to generate you leads. If you're brand new out of the box, I mean, like we like to tell our customers, don't expect anything with 2 months, because then anything we get them in that 2 month time frame, then they're happy with. But like, yeah, I mean, it does take time, but if you look at like 3 months to be having a decent impact, 4 or 5 months, and you're going to be having a very profitable campaign.
And it lasts. That's the nice thing about this, I will totally admit, is it lasts. You don't have to deal with it every second. Yeah.
Like AdWords, you stop spending, you stop getting, and it's only ever going to get more expensive, as it gets more competitive, and you're competing against other experts. Where SEO, it's compounding. What you did last month, you get this month, and you get next month, and the month after. It's a way better investment.
Yeah, backlinks kind of last forever almost. They just last for long, long periods of time. So,
and the older they are, the more valuable they are too.
Right, because age matters. Well, let's we got to take a brief sponsor break, and when we come back, Kris has a super duper deal for you. And we'll ask him what a typical day is like for him living in Vietnam and running a international business like this. So folks, about 20 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing world on its head. Guys like me were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to teach this stuff to small business people. And I know a lot of these guys. If you gave them 50 or 100 grand, you'd be hunting for them in Vietnam under, a rice paddy or something, because they would not come through. So I said, that's too risky for a small business. It's not fair to put them in that position, and most of them couldn't afford it. So I said, you know what, I'm going to charge them an entry fee and then a percentage of their profits that's capped, so that I can get my big money eventually, but for me to get my 50,000, they have to make 200,000. Well, people love this. Is over 20 years ago I started this, and 1,700 students later, it's still going strong. It's a unique program where you spend an immersion weekend in the retreat center here in Virginia Beach. We have our own TV studio. We shoot you in, and everything we do is one-on-one. Most people at my level won't even talk to you, let alone teach you anything. But my whole crew that I've trained will tutor you one-on-one. So I hate this group stuff where half the time you're bored and half the time you're lost. In that case, it doesn't, it doesn't work that way with us. So it's greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. It's one of the longest running, most successful mentor programs ever in this field. I'll put it up against anybody's program. I don't care, big name, little name, whoever it is, will blow them away. And also, when you're in my mentor program, you get a scholarship to my school, which you can gift to nephew, niece, kids, grandchildren, loved ones, anybody. Then they can also take advantage of the training. So very powerful. You can't find this anywhere else in the world, where, like I said, you can actually come in and live in the house with a guy at my level and watch the orders come in and see how we work and the whole bit. We pick you up in a limo at Norfolk International Airport. You have no expenses, no big upsells while you're here. All right, so check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, so let's get back to the main event. Kris Reid is here. He's an international, I guess we would call him an SEO expert, since his company is Ardor, Ardor SEO, and teaches people how to get customers. And I love the fact that he's not into the super fancy websites that'll do your dishes and wash your car for you, but won't make you any money. So I'm totally in line with that. And also this backlink idea has been solid for many, many years. So I'm in full agreement with that. So Kris, tell us what a typical day looks like for you, and then tell us the super deal you got for our folks.
Yeah, sure, Tom. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of the early riser. Like, I woke up at like 4:50 this morning, jumped out of bed, take my dogs for a walk along the river. I live in a beautiful part of Saigon that's really quiet. Then I come home and write in my journal and read my daily Stoic and plan out my day.
You read your daily what?
My Daily Stoic. There's a beautiful book by Ryan Holiday called The Daily Stoic, which has a daily Stoic meditation.
Got it.
Fabulous. I'm fourth year through it, so it's really good. And then I usually have I work a lot with the US, and we're pretty much opposite time zone from the East Coast. So I'll usually have a West Coast phone call in the morning, then I'll go to yoga for a couple of hours. Then I go to the office for a couple of hours. Then I have the afternoon off. Then usually have a East Coast call like this in the evening, and get ready to go to bed.
Beautiful. Now, you said you go to the office, so you are not screwing the commute or what?
I mean, I can walk to the office.
That's nice.
I have a pretty nice home office as well, which I'm sitting in right now, which has a big bay window that overlooks a river and a big park. It's fabulous. And you can almost, if you put your head out my window, you can see our office building, which is down at the other side of the suburb.
Now, is this pandemic affecting Vietnam much?
Vietnam actually did a fabulous job with the pandemic. They locked the country down really, really fast and had like 270 cases and 0 deaths.
That's wonderful. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. But man, business wise, like, as you said during the intro, like, we lost one customer at the start of it because he does public speaking and his income turned off.
Right.
And I was a bit scared. I'm going, oh man, we're going to lose customers. How's this going to go? And that was the only one we lost. And man, we've never been busier. It's like there's just constant stream of people going, I want to work on my digital marketing.
Right.
I need more customers now. Let's grow.
Same with me.
As you said, it's a lot of people are suffering and it's terrible. Business is booming over here. It's a great time to be working online.
Yeah, and I've been preaching this for 20 some years. I mean, like I said, people call me up nowadays saying, "Boy, I wish I would have listened to you. I wish I would have listened to you." Because if you do this for years, you can have a heck of a good insurance policy because money will keep coming in.
It's not too late.
Yeah, it's of course not. Yeah. So tell us about this deal you got for our folks.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, most people's websites suck because they just don't generate any customers. So if you head over to ardorseo.com/screw, I'll personally do a website review for you. So I'll turn on my little webcam and I'll turn on the tools that we have. I'll look at your market, your search volume, show you some simple things that you can change yourself to get your website in front of the very people that are looking for exactly what you do and help you grow your business.
Yeah, so that's Ardor SEO. So it's ARDORSEO.com/screw. Wonder how he thought that up. I don't know. But boy, the guy's really creative. So what an opportunity for you, folks. I charge $500 to do the same thing. So it's great to have his kind of expertise looking at it from a different perspective. Because if you find a guy like me or a guy like Kris that claims to know it all, put your wallet in your pocket and run as fast as you can, because there ain't no way. There's people making money in all kinds of ways you can't imagine, and he's got his method, I got my method, and you can be successful in a lot of different ways. And that's, like I said, why I brought him on. I knew he had a different perspective from me, and it's wonderful, incredible. So check that out at ardorseo.com/screw. Well, Kris, thanks so much for coming on and giving us your ideas. They're certainly modern and going to help people out.
Tom, it's been a pleasure, man.
All right. So watch out for those Latvian women. You should know better now.
That's why I moved to Saigon. It's safe here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks, Kris, so much. We appreciate it. Check it out, folks, at ardorseo.com/screw and get your video review from Kris Reid. All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all in the next episode.